Take two.
Take two. This is really actually take two. But welcome to episode 7 of the I Am You podcast. And today we're going to talk about the hero, victim, villain model, emotional charge. How come it seems like when all the facts, all like the logic and reasoning is on your side, the other side is just asleep, not awake, brainwashed, whatever you want to,
However you want to say
however you want to call it. Okay, so from and just some examples, right? I think we all, unless you've been really good hiding in a hole and just not being on social media, it's the worst on social media, right? You post something, someone else will jump in. I've totally done that, and then I've totally also, when I'm posting whatever I'm posting, I've had it where I'm actually in the right and other people are the ones that are not right, and like just taking that stance. Okay. Have you experienced that?
I haven't.
No.
No.
You don't post on social media much, as far as with this kind of stuff.
I posted about Corona,
Uh-huh.
and some people reposted and said yes.
Okay.
So there was no like right or wrong, really.
Okay. What about your version of this that you've experienced? With emotional charges.
Yeah. I mean, I've really noticed that a lot lately, like with my fiance. My now
look at that.
fiance.
Oh, look at that. Wait a minute.
Wait, have we showed the ring?
Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
Ah!
Okay.
So pretty.
Your fiance.
My fiance.
Who's going to remain nameless? We're going to name him.
Dominic.
Okay, Dominic.
I thought I already named him.
I don't know.
I don't know. His name is Dominic.
Yeah.
So he had actually told me this many times. I mean, in the work that he does and the work that you're now doing, it's all about AAA, stage 1, acknowledge, just acknowledge.
AAA is awareness, acknowledgement, acceptance. We'll talk about that. We'll expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's been telling me that for like 3 years, and sometimes it takes me a while to understand. But when I get upset, I really just want to be able to verbally communicate it and be acknowledged. And if you just acknowledge, like, yeah, I can totally see how that's annoying. I would be upset too. That'd be really annoying for me if I viewed this in that way. Like, I totally see how all that happened and you got annoyed. And then I'm like, yes, thank you. Now I can tell you and be aware that like this was all my perception and this was just a wound coming up from this and had nothing to do with the situation and this and that. Then I can like actually digest the emotion. I just before being able to do that need to be acknowledged. And a great way to be acknowledged is to have that conversation with someone and the other person just be able to acknowledge you, not say this is right or wrong, just like you feel that way. I can see how or why you'd feel that way, and let's go deeper and let's feel it.
Yeah.
And so for me, that works really well. He doesn't do that sometimes, but now if he starts to fix it, because you men like to fix things.
Yep. Let us fix it. What else would you tell me?
So if he starts to fix it, I say, okay, like you're trying to fix it right now. I just want you to listen to me and acknowledge me. And he understands that concept and what that means and kind of looks like. So when I say that, he's able to then switch into like, he's like, you're right. I'm not going to try to fix it. I'm just going to listen to you. I'm just going to acknowledge you. Once he does that, I'm great. And then I was actually able to do that for him today.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I finally understand it. And it was great.
Okay, cool. And then to expand on that a little bit, right? So, especially for those of you that are in self-development, you probably read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. So I was introduced to that book when I was, I think, like 18 or 19, and I thought it was stupid, right? It's like just all these tactics on how to manipulate people. Like, what in the hell? That's what I thought. Then I actually reread it again, maybe like 5 years ago. I could see some utility to it, but I still thought it was stupid. And it was actually more where I was coming from. So this stuff only works when you notice what your intention is when you're acknowledging someone else, right? So if you're acknowledging someone else to shut them up, you're acknowledging someone else so as some kind of technique where they'll then stop talking, and then you can make your point, and it's not a win for both of you. It's not going to work, right? And for anyone who's tried it, I think you'll have actual experience that, like, wow, okay, I acknowledge this person, and then she just got even more mad, saying I'm just parroting what she's saying, like.
Oh yes.
Right, like so. So the intention behind why you're doing it also matters, right? So you really can't fake it.
It has to be genuine, and that's with everything in that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
You have to do all of that genuinely, or it's just doesn't work.
Right, and that's where I guess I didn't really necessarily resonate with the book as much, just because it's essentially focusing so much on external actions or techniques, and like the inner part has to match what's going on with the outer part.
Yeah.
And tying that back into social media, or really just anything where there's like a polarizing topic, A or B, or even like ex-girlfriend for me, like thank you so much to her for helping me like practice this, right? When you listen to someone, you simultaneously have to listen to what they're saying and not actually start going back and forth with them point by point, because that's not, so if someone's making a point about their beliefs in like a situation where they feel like they were wrong, if you try to
wronged, like they were wronged,
yeah,
or they felt like they were wrong.
Yeah, so like a person's like, I was wrong, Sally Sue did this, and this, and I did this. I actually tried to be the adult about it, but she just wanted to be a bitch, and then and then you try to like argue, well, maybe she had this one, whatever. It doesn't work, right?
No.
And the reason why it doesn't work is because you are actually the circumstances, but underneath the circumstances, there's a energetic level. Okay,
right.
So the amount of energy that's available to you dictates how you perceive something. Right, so you'll have a certain amount of energy, and then you'll have the thoughts, the emotions, the stories of what you're perceiving and how it actually makes sense to you. So rather than trying to address the circumstances, which is consistent with the energy level, when you address the circumstances, there is no chance of actually changing the energy level, right?
Correct.
Right, so when we're talking about, you and Dominic, he's
trying to fix it.
He's trying to fix something. He's actually addressing you at your energy level. When he could AAA, so awareness, acknowledge, and accept, wow, this is the energy level going on underneath. Maybe he's not going to word it like that, right? But just noticing, okay, she's upset. She just wants to vent. This is her emotional state right now. You could hear the words. You can't ignore the words. Right? Like for any guys, if you try to ignore the words, that's not going to go well. So you still hear the words that are going on, but you can address or acknowledge subtly also the underlying emotions, the whole like how everything you're experiencing, without needing to change it, without judging it, without needing to do anything about it. It literally creates space for the other person to shift their energy.
Yeah, and once I tell him, I just want him to acknowledge me. He will shift into that. And then he'll say, okay, so you're not feeling enough, and you feel like this, and he'll actually help me take it deeper from there, like get into the energetics of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just being acknowledged firsthand before going deeper is that does need to be there.
Right, and then like my version of that now, when I'm present to it, let's just say I am, well, first of all, there's a limited amount of communication or energy you can actually distribute through social media, right? That's why like texting, writing an email, posting on social media, it doesn't really work because you're missing a lot of components of communication, right? It's just only like, just for example, most of our communication, especially when we're talking to someone, that's nonverbal. How do you communicate that? How do you communicate that when it's just through text, right? You're missing a lot of it. So what is the ultimate like goal here when we're going on social media, when we're talking about our beliefs, right? Like what is it in the world that we actually want to see? Like why do you believe what do you believe in? Like, what's the bigger objective? You know, how can it be a win for more people and everyone? And like when you're present to that, and now how that actually ties into what it is that's fueling whatever you believe, the conversation changes, right? Because you actually realize we're actually on the same team. We might have a different approach or opinion about it, but we actually just want most of us just want what's best, right? This is our opinion, you know, this is what we believe in, but instead of focusing on like the opinions, beliefs, it's the intention, what's underneath. You know, we're all actually human beings that have taken a perspective, and then it is a human nature to want to actually keep its perspective going, because from a identity standpoint, when your perspective falls apart, it, from an identity standpoint, feels like you're dying.
Yeah.
Right? And that's one of the strongest forces acting on how we behave. Right? Anything else?
That was deep.
It's very deep.
Deep. Yeah, you got into ego death.
Okay. Anything else?
What on acknowledging?
Well, just any thoughts.
Thoughts on that. I, for a while, had a hard time acknowledging because I had a good amount of stage 2 and this idea of like what is right, what is wrong,
and explain
what's good,
where the
what is
term
bad. Okay,
stage 2 comes from.
Stage 2 is from Donnie Epstein work, network spinal analysis. They're the 12 stages of healing, stages of development. You start at stage 1, suffering, and then you make your way up through the stages. Stage 12 is community and oneness. Stage 2 is polarity. When you do stage 2, you're acknowledging the separateness you feel within you. So just saying, I am a separate person from Kwong, that's stage 2. Whereas in like stage 12, you get to oneness and realize that we are actually at our core, we're the same, we're connected. As you go like we're at our densest physical body, as you go lighter and lighter into our energy field, it gets so light to where we actually merge into one. And we are the same. I am you.
I'm supposed to high five you?
I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I am you.
Okay.
So stage 2 is just acknowledging that separateness that we all have as humans. And if someone has a lot of stage 2 within them, there's a lot of judgment. And you hear yourself saying like, I'm right, they're wrong. I'm good, they're bad.
Yeah, and let me just jump in here real quick. Okay, so we all have judgment in us. It's not like, oh, look, I'm above that, I don't have judgment. Okay.
We're humans.
When you're primarily operating in stage 2, what happens is your lower mental, that's another term, where that's the part of your brain that just makes quick snap decisions, right? You generalize or stereotype everything. You know, all Republicans believe in this. All Democrats believe in this. You know, you're either for gay rights or not for gay rights.
It's a lot of absolutes.
Right. Yeah, right. So because there's not enough energy to actually start thinking in more nuanced ways. So when you're very, very stage 2, as Ashley said, you're essentially using the lower mental to try to do a lot of things. Now, you need the lower mental to operate, right? Because that's how you get through a lot of your life. You don't have time to sit there thinking all these deep things when you just need to figure out one thing or another. It's when the lower mental has to operate outside of its pay scale. It has to do something that's requiring more. That's where it's a challenge.
Okay, yeah. So, like if he gets emotionally charged and he is communicating why he's upset with me, in the past, I now see that I would I would listen to the words a lot, and I would think about the circumstances, and I would say, no, this is wrong, that's not what happened, that's not what was said.
Right, and if you look, right, if I'm telling her why I'm upset and she's listening to the words, it turns into a defense.
Yeah.
So she's defending her position, which inherently means she is attacking your position, right? So defend my position to attack your position. It's called a zero sum game. I win, you lose. Again, hero victim. Keep going.
Yeah. So, I would do that a lot, and we never got anywhere. He would actually get even more emotionally charged. We would both withdraw even more, and it would take like days for us to come back together and reconnect and actually have a civilized conversation. I don't know, civilized is not the right word.
Yeah, civilized just sounds like saying the right things but not really connecting as human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually what would happen sometimes.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
why we broke up so many times.
Then it was a civilized conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
And then now
that I finally understand this,
mm-hmm.
Now that we both really finally understand that we're both able to let go of the circumstances,
mm-hmm.
Let go of that defense a little bit, and just acknowledge whatever the other person is feeling. Because it's actually interesting, we both kind of went through this growth together.
Mm-hmm.
We both really understood and felt the concept of all emotions are yours and has nothing to do with the outer circumstances. We use our outer circumstances to make sense of and justify whatever emotion is coming up, or we use circumstances to feel whatever emotion is bottled up inside of us. It has nothing to do with the current circumstances. So we've both recently actually fully understood that. Like, we understood the concept, but we actually know it now. So now when we have emotional charges, we both at some level understand that this has nothing to do with the other person, and the other person isn't wrong and I'm not wrong. I'm just feeling an emotion. Mm-hmm. So now when we communicate it, we're taking more responsibility for the emotion, and the other person understands that as well and can say, okay, you're feeling an emotion. I'm going to acknowledge your emotion. I'm going to even at some level acknowledge your circumstances for you so that you can get more connected to the energetics of it. You can get more connected to the emotion.
Right. So, and what she's saying is that they're at a place, right? Correct me if I'm misrepresenting it.
Okay.
Where when there's a disagreement, so they could feel the emotions building. It's not like the emotions don't happen when the disagreements don't happen.
Right.
It's that the amount of time or the effectiveness that they can actually observe it. The amount of time is shorter, where they could observe it a lot more effectively, a lot quicker, right? So right now, for example, if I have a disagreement with Ashley, right? It's not that like my thoughts go away. It's that I can actually observe that I'm experiencing her a certain way, right? Where it's my way and then her way, and then we're opposing. And then just notice that. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to figure it out. You don't need to strategize in a way.
Yeah.
It's actually just observing that without needing to change it, without needing to make it feel more pleasant, without needing to sugarcoat it. That just is actually happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And as you are aware of that and simultaneously still noticing what's going on, like circumstantially, it automatically opens up. Like this stuff, and also something else I forgot to bring up. It only takes one person to actually bring their attention to it, and then the dynamic shifts, right? And when one person brings their attention to it, almost simultaneously, it's like the other person also brings their attention to it. So then who actually did it first? Or is it actually happening at the same time? It's kind of a mind fuck because it's one field.
Which is probably explains why we both kind of understood this. Seems like at the same time we're both affecting each other.
Yeah, so there's like a relationship going on, and then this where you experience him, fiance in your field, where he experiences you, and then essentially the frequency or the consciousness of it has evolved,
mm-hmm.
which is why that seems to be happening more effectively and
Right,
closer to what you guys have always wanted in your true nature anyways.
Yes. So nice.
Okay. So
that goes, another thing though, that goes for actually feeling your emotions, not judging them as right or wrong either. because there's nothing wrong with any feeling or any emotion, but we oftentimes, like one easy example is men and crying.
Yeah.
Like a lot of men have this story and judgment around crying, that they're weak, that it means this and that,
So
this.
is it not judging, or is it actually observing your judgment
Observing
and not
the judgment.
identifying with it? Oh, awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. Better way to say that.
Yeah. So we went super, I guess,
Deep into
almost like a lot of jargon and all this stuff. So we had to make it very, very simple. So it's like a quick, simple takeaway at the end. How did you want to summarize this?
what we just said.
Yeah, in a way where like takeaway, like step one.
Step one. I don't know. I'm not really good at making things simple.
Yeah. Okay. So step one, and this is where meditation comes in.
Yeah,
right?
the awareness.
Yeah. So it's not like a lot of people think like meditation's a religious thing, and then when someone calls it spiritual, it's just like a fancy way of saying religious. It's actually completely different, right? So you can actually be of a certain religion and still be spiritual, and they're totally aligned. There's no such thing with being more aware that somehow contradicts religion, right? It's like saying like being in a better mood somehow like contradicts some religious belief. Like your mood and they're not talking about the same thing, even though it impacts each other. Okay, so awareness is your ability to observe what's actually going on without identifying from it. Now, it's very easy to do that in meditation because usually you're in a quiet environment, right? Sometimes you have a guide, right? You're either listening to an app or Ashley's meditation podcast. What is it called?
Yeah, listening to you.
Listening to You podcast.
Meditation podcast.
So where you can listen to that. But as she's guiding you through it, or you can actually do it with just complete silence, following your breath.
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing is shifting your attention and focus from one thing to another to another. Okay. Now, if you first do it and you feel like you want to rip your eyes out or you're going to fall asleep, that's a great, great sign that your awareness is undeveloped. You're a human being. Every human being has the ability to do that. But when it's untrained and you first try to do it, it's going to feel awful. So you could lower the goalpost a little bit. You don't have to even meditate for 5 minutes. Can you actually do that for 30 seconds? Right? Now, when you're doing that, you're observing your thoughts, right? Is that something you say in your podcast? Or you're visualizing that there's roots coming out of your sacral chakra, and you're actually grounding into the ground, okay? And you're actually focusing on that. The ability to actually shift your focus and focus on one thing, not only will it make you way better at getting started on things in life, right? And then focus and getting things done and completing them, but it actually allows you to start connecting more to the unbound energy and start doing some of this stuff effortlessly, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of this, if it sounds like a technique or tactic to get things done, or it feels like effort, that's not how it's actually supposed to show up.
Yeah, so like the meditation kind of helps you, because a lot of us are kind of stuck in this external world, our circumstances, our stories, and they seem like the reality. They seem like truth. Like, this is the way it is. And then someone with that stage 2, someone says, oh, actually, this is how I see this. And you're like, no, this is how I see this, and this is how it is. That's us stuck in our circumstances, stuck in reality, stuck in the story. Meditation, as you get quiet, it kind of like brings you back and allows you to see everything from a different place and from further back. Like, you're stepping back to actually see the entire story instead of just a piece of the story that we're normally caught up in our daily lives. So meditation, you kind of quiet down, you start to see everything, and then things can start from there, like unraveling and repatterning, and that's when meditation gets a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be you're sitting in a chair like crossing your legs,
Yeah.
For a lot of guys, they can't even do that, and it's like, oh my god, my back hurts after like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You could literally be laying on your back and meditate.
You can do walking meditations as well.
It all comes down to how do you actually focus your observer, right? So there's always a you that's observing. If you can observe your thoughts, clearly you're not your thoughts, right? If you can observe the perspective, you're not your perspective.
You can observe
the
emotion.
Yes, you can observe the emotion that you're feeling. You can observe the emotion that's coming from the other person. You can observe the perspective from the other person. And just observing it is enough. That is AAA in it. And that gives the person that you're actually observing so much room to actually be, and it actually allows them to not be stuck in their perspective.
Yeah.
That's where good mental health counselors, good mentors, coaches, that's where they're mastering, right? They have a mastery of that, how to actually observe. So the person who's being listened to or heard, or just being in the presence of you being focused on, literally feels like they're smarter. They're figuring things out on their own as they're talking. It's because they're actually being listened to and observed in a way that promotes that.
Yes. I agree.
Okay. So, anything else you would like to add to it?
Not at the moment.
Okay. What song would you like to play?
So I love the last song.
Oh, interesting.
Kwong made a good choice.
Okay. So we're gonna double dip?
Yeah. I think we're gonna double dip, but I'm gonna put the other version.
Okay, yeah. There you go. And what's the song again?
Together we can change the world.
Yes. Okay. That's it.
Enjoy it.
Please shoot us a message if you have any questions or you'd like to make a comment, and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and
Spotify.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe it's not too late. Together we can change the world. Lay the puzzle pieces out. Find out what it's all about. Together we can change the world.